From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. will be making a big push for the issuance of a joint statement of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, on China's recent actions in the South China Sea, or SCS, and release of its 2023 Standard Map. The President is slated to participate in the 43rd ASEAN Summit and related summits in Jakarta, Indonesia, from the 5th to the 7th of September. In a palace briefing, DFA Assistant Secretary for ASEAN Affairs, Daniel Espiritu, said that the Philippines is definitely pushing for a statement in that regard. Espiritu said that during the 43rd ASEAN Summit and related summits, President Marcos is expected to attend 13 leaders' engagements, 12 of which are summit sessions with other leaders. President Marcos would also hold bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the ASEAN Summit and related summits. Espiritu said the President is expected to meet with Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol, Timor-Leste Prime Minister Sanana Gusmao, and Vietnam Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh. Let's listen to the departure speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Thank you very much, Chief Luke, for your introduction. Please take the House Speaker, Speaker Martin Romualdez, members of the Cabinet that have joined us here this afternoon, both who are part of the delegation and those who are going to stay behind to hold the fort. Pasay District Representative Antonio Calixto, the Philippine Ambassador to the United States, Babe Romualdez, Pasay City Mayor Imelda Calixto Rubiano, the AFP Chief of Staff, Romeo Browner, and the major service commanders here today. Philippine National Police Chief, General Benji Acorda. Of course, our First Lady, good afternoon. Fellow workers in government, ladies and gentlemen. I am leaving today to go to Indonesia to attend the 43rd ASEAN Summit and related summits at the invitation of the chair of ASEAN this year, President Joko Widodo of Indonesia. Once again, I will use this opportunity to advance Philippine priorities in ASEAN and work with our other ASEAN member states, not only in addressing the complex challenges facing the region, but also in pursuing opportunities for ASEAN as an epicentrum of growth. My participation will highlight our advocacies in promoting a rules-based international order, including in the South China Sea, strengthening food security, calling for climate justice, tapping the potential of the digital and creative economies, protecting migrant workers in crisis situations, as well as combating trafficking in persons. The second ASEAN Summit for this year provides a strategic opportunity for ASEAN to deepen its robust partnerships with Australia, Canada, India, China, Japan, Korea, the United States, and the United Nations. We will foster cooperation with these countries in areas such as trade and investment, climate action, food security, clean energy, and maritime cooperation. I will also participate in the ASEAN Plus 3 and East Asia summits, during which we will discuss developments in the South China Sea, the situation in Myanmar, and the conflict in Ukraine, as well as on other major power rivalries. I will also take the opportunity to meet the bilateral partners at the sidelines of the ASEAN Summit to advance cooperation that will benefit our national priorities. As a founding member, ASEAN has always been closely intertwined with Philippine foreign policy. My administration will continue to ensure that our constructive engagements with ASEAN, our dialogue partners, and stakeholders serve our national interests and the well-being of the Filipino people. Haba po kami ay nasa Jakarta, ay walang tigil po ang aming pagtutok sa sitwasyon na ngayon na ating hinaharap tungkol sa bigas. Sasamantalahin ko na po itong pagkakataon na ito upang magpaliwanag kung ano ba ang mga nangyayari sa sektor ng bigas at kung ano ang ginagawa ng inyong pamahalaan. Tayo po ay sa lahat ng pag-aaral ng Department of Agriculture at lahat ng ibang ahensya ng pamahalaan. Hindi namin makita ang magagandang dahilan kung bakit tataas ang presyo ng bigas ng ganito. Lumalampas na 50 pesos ang bawat isang kilo. Ngayon, sa pag-aaral namin, ang dahilan lamang dito ay talagang nandyan ang mga smuggler at saka ang mga hoarder. Ako po, sa aking pag-iisip, ang aking pag-approach pagka dumating sa ekonomiya, ay nais kong sa hanggat maaari ayaw kong pakialaman ang merkado. At pabayaan natin, let the market do its work. Ngunit ay pinapakialaman na ang merkado natin. Kaya't kailangan pumasok ang pamahalaan at ito nga ang aming ginawa ay tayo ay naglagay ng price ceiling para sa presyo ng bigas. At pangalawa, kailangan ko po, kaya patuloy po ang ating magiging kampanya sa paghuhuli ng mga smuggler, sa paghuhuli sa mga hoarder. Tuloy-tuloy yan. Ngunit sa ngayon, kailangan na masyado ng matagal, hindi bumabawi ang merkado, nahirapan na ang tao. Kaya napilitan ang gobyerno na pumasok at magsabi na maglagay tayo ng price control para naman naghihirap na ang tao, dapat naman wag na natin dagdagan ng ilang kahirapan. Pangalawa po, kailangan ko may paliwanag, ito po ay pangsamantala lamang. Hindi ito tatagal. Pagdating, tayo'y umaani na ng palay. Umaani na tayo ng palay dito sa Pilipinas, tapos na ang season. At kaya't pagdating ng panahon, papasok pa, meron tayong mga in-import na bigas. Sabay-sabay na papasok yan. At makikita, basta't ilalagay namin, dadali natin sa palengke, pabayaan uli natin ang presyo ng bigas na maghanap ng sarili niyang presyo. Ngunit dahil talagang malaki ang supply, magandang supply, makikita natin na makokontrol ng market yung presyo ng bigas. Pangatlo, naunawaan namin kaagad mula sa simula ng usapan tungkol sa price control sa bigas, naunawaan na namin at nakita kaagad na merong mga retailer na maiipit. Dahil sila ay bumili ng mahal na bigas, ngayon ay mapipilitan sila maipagbili yung mahal na bigas sa murang halaga. Kaya alam namin yon. Kaya gumawa kami, meron tayong plano. Sa kasalukuyan, ang ating DTI, ang ating Department of Agriculture, ay gumagawa ng listahan ng ating mga rice retailers, yung mga association ng mga rice retailer, kung sino man ang mga rice retailer. At habang ginagawa yan, kinakalkula rin kung ano ang magiging lugi ng mga rice retailer dahil nga sa price cap. Kaya ang DSWD naman ay tiniyak namin na meron silang pondo ihanda upang pag nakalkula na natin ang lugi ng mga rice retailer, ay bibigyan naman natin sila ng tulong, katumbas na tulong. Kaya huwag sana kayong mag-alala. Alam po namin na ito'y mga bago na sistema na ating ginagawa. Ngunit, kagaya ng aking nasabi, ay napipilitan tayo dahil sa mga puwersa na, na kuminsan ayaw tumulong sa ating mga kababayan. Ngunit gagawin natin ito upang makatiyak naman ang taong bayan na hindi napakalaki ang kanilang ginagastos para naman sa kanilang pagkain, para sa bigas. At ang pangalawa, huwag po kayo mag-alala, mga rice retailer. Naunawaan po namin kaagad na maaabala kayo dahil iisipin nga ninyo na may malulugip. Nandyan ang gobyerno ninyo upang magbigay ng tulong para sa inyo lahat, para naman bawi ang lugi ninyo na nangyari dahil sa price cap. Kaya't sana naman ito ay magiging, kagaya ng sabi ko, this is a temporary measure. The rice supply will be coming in the second week of September. Nandyan na yung ani ng Pilipinas, nandyan na yung importation natin. Wala na naman talagang magiging dahilan kung bakit tataas ang presyo ng bigas at maibabalik natin sa dati nating kinasanayan na presyo.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
The national government is resolved to make the Philippines the #1 creative economy in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN by 2030. Pangasinan 4th District Representative Christopher De Venecia said that the government now needs to get the resources in order to implement the different mandates of the law. Republic Act or RA 11904 mandates the promotion and development of the country's creative industries by protecting and strengthening the rights and capacities of creative firms, artists, artisans, creators, workers, indigenous cultural communities, content providers, and other stakeholders in the creative industries. Under the law, creative industries include audiovisual media, which is vlogs, films, television, animatronics, broadcast, and music; digital interactive media for software and mobile apps, video games, digitalized creative content; creative services for creative research, development, and real-time artistic performances; design, which is fashion, toy making, footwear making, textile development, urban landscaping, and jewelry making; publishing and printed media, which includes comics, blogs, magazines, and published media; performing arts, musical theater, circus, opera, and puppetry; visual arts, which includes drawings, sculptures, paintings, and photographs; traditional cultural expressions of arts and crafts, and gastronomy; and cultural sites, which includes museums and cultural exhibitions. Data from the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA showed that in 2022, the creative economy amounted to 1.6 trillion pesos and contributed 7.3% to the country's gross domestic product or GDP. The industry currently employs more than 7 million Filipinos. De Venecia said the Philippines is #1 in ASEAN in terms of exporting creative services. To spur the growth of the industry, De Venecia cited the need to amp up investment promotions and educate the country's investment promotion agencies on the different opportunities that await investors when they come to the Philippines to support the creative ecosystem. He added that the Memorandum of Understanding signed last year between the Philippines and Indonesia could also help the former's creative industry to grow. The lawmaker said the government is working on increasing the budget for the Malikaing Pinoy program, which aims to harness Filipino creativity as a key driver of economic growth and recovery through the development of a robust and all-inclusive creative ecosystem in the Philippines.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang over the weekend said that the implementation of the mandated price ceilings for rice will start on September 5th. The clarification was made after Executive Order or EO number 39 stated that the price cap on regular and well-milled rice will take effect immediately upon its publication in the Official Gazette or in a newspaper of general circulation. EO 39 sets the mandated price per kilogram of regular milled rice at 41 pesos and well-milled rice at 45 pesos. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. signed EO 39 on Thursday, approving the August 31st recommendation of the Department of Agriculture or DA and the Department of Trade and Industry or DTI to impose mandated price ceilings on rice amid the current surge in retail prices of the staple in the country. EO 39 directs the DTI and the DA to ensure the strict implementation of the mandated price ceilings, monitor and investigate abnormal price movements of rice in the market, and provide assistance to affected retailers with the help of the Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG. It also orders the Bureau of Customs to step up its ongoing inspections and raids of rice warehouses to combat hoarding and illegal importation and facilitate the confiscation, seizure, or forfeiture of smuggled rice as may be warranted by the law. DTI Assistant Secretary Agaton Uvero said, composite teams comprised of different government agencies in coordination with local government units or LGUs will visit markets to monitor prices of the two rice varieties. Uvero assured other varieties of rice will still be available, but premium rice costs much higher. In a media interview in Puerto Princesa City, Palawan Province earlier Friday, President Marcos urged the public to report violators of the price caps. President Marcos said that while EO 39 would be implemented nationwide, the government would focus its monitoring in Metro Manila, noting that the condition is not so bad outside the country's metropolis. The Philippine Rice Industry Stakeholders Movement, or PRISM, an association of rice traders, likewise said it will work with the government to provide consumers with affordable and quality rice. While some industry stakeholders do not agree with the order, PRISM-led convener Rowena Sadicon hopes their members will understand the position of the chief executive, according to a news release of the Presidential Communications Office.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Saturday released the names of 28 new appointees of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., including two special envoys for overseas Filipinos concerns and to the United Arab Emirates or UAE for trade and investments. The President appointed Iglesia ni Cristo or INC Executive Minister Eduardo Manalo as Special Envoy for Overseas Filipino Concerns, the same position given to the latter in 2018 under the leadership of former President Rodrigo Duterte. The INCs, known for its block voting system, backed President Marcos's presidential bid in the 2022 national elections, as well as his candidacy for vice president in 2016. The roster of newly appointed officials also included businessman Norman Vincent Wee, who was tapped as special envoy to the UAE for trade and investments. President Marcos appointed Grace Tan as the new chairperson of the National Labor Relations Commission, an attached agency of the Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, mandated to adjudicate labor and management disputes involving both local and overseas workers through compulsory arbitration and alternative modes of dispute resolution. The other appointees are Jesus Ricardo Domingo as Foreign Affairs Undersecretary, Pablo Lorenzo as Defense Undersecretary, Felix Castro Jr. as Presidential Assistant for Marawi Rehabilitation, with the rank of Assistant Secretary, Nino Raymond Alvina as Finance Assistant Secretary, and Wilson Buerano Jr. as Deputy Director General of the Philippine Information Agency, or PIA. Based on the new list of presidential appointees, Romeo Bernardo and Rosalia de Leon will serve as members of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas' Monetary Board. Alan Montaño as member of the National Tripartite Industrial Peace Council representing the labor sector. Cynthia Carrion as member of Philippine Retirement Authority's Board of Trustees, and Mark Bocobo as member of the Cagayan Economic Zone Authority's Board of Directors representing the national government. Named Provincial Agrarian Reform Adjudicators were Saipal Alawi Jr., Grian Damarillos, Reparado Galios III, Rolando Lava, and Rahil Saga. The Chief Executive also tapped Catherine Alam Miranda and Jonathan Leibag as Local Government Operations Officer 8 of the Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG. Reginald Rapanan will serve as Director 4 at the Department of Transportation's Office for Transportation Security, while Rowena Hizon, Miramel Laksa, Michael Joseph Lorico, and Christian Joseph Regunay will hold the same posts at the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD. President Marcos designated Jacqueline Crystal Nehamabana as Director 3 of the DSWD, Consolacion Agkawili as Executive Director 3 of the Bureau of Local Government Finance, and Mark Anthony Diamante as Director 3 of the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT Secretary Ivan John Uy has reported that Japan's telecommunication giant IPS Incorporated has earmarked an additional $100 million, or about 5.6 billion pesos, in new investments into the Philippines for 2023 to 2024. Secretary Uy and IPS Chief Executive Officer Koji Miyashita signed a memorandum of support in a ceremony held in Tokyo on August 25th to expand the capacity of a modern and secure gateway for the Philippines to the rest of the world via Japan. In a news release over the weekend, Uy said that this will likewise ensure unhampered data connectivity via the eastern seaboard away from the highly contested South China Sea. In another development, Infinivan Incorporated, an IPS affiliate in the Philippines, offered another estimated investment of 4 billion pesos under a public-private partnership arrangement that would fast-track the deployment and connectivity of the National Broadband Plan, also known as Broadband ng Masa Program, or BBMP. The proposal is now being considered by the DICT. Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center Executive Director Alexander Ramos welcomed the partnership with IPS and Infinivan as a testament to the nation's growing importance in the global digital landscape. During the exploratory talks, Infinivan proposed the acquisition of dark fiber pairs on the Infinivan-led Philippine domestic submarine cable network to complete the backbone of the BBMP. Securing dark fiber-based capacities on international submarine cable systems that have touchpoints in major hubs such as Singapore, Taiwan, Japan, the United States, and Europe, with landing points in the Philippines, was also discussed during the exploratory talks in Tokyo. Infinivan's proposal covers a distance of 2,700 kilometers of fiber optic cable linking Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao and covering 26 new landing points. They include Batangas-Mindoro, Mindoro to Boracay, Lucena to Marinduque, Marinduque to Tablas, Capiz to Tablas, Masbate 1 to Capiz, Iloilo to Bacolod, Negros Occidental to Western Cebu, Zamboanga del Norte 1 to Negros Oriental, Surigao del Norte to Southern Leyte, Western Leyte to Cebu 1, Samar to Masbate 2, then Masbate 2 to Sorsogon, Boracay to Aklan, Siargao to Surigao del Sur, Camiguin to Misamis Oriental, Masbate 1 to Western Leyte, Cebu 2 to Bohol, Bohol to Cagayan de Oro, Cagayan de Oro to Zamboanga del Norte 1, Zamboanga del Norte 2 to Zamboanga del Norte 1, Zamboanga del Norte 2 to Zamboanga del Sur, Camarines Sur to Tablas, Southern Leyte to Cebu 1, Masbate 1 to Masbate 2, UG Terrestrial, and Cebu 1 to Cebu 2, UG Terrestrial.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Philippines Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG, together with Metro Manila mayors and administrators of public and private markets, will assist the Departments of Trade and Industry, or DTI, and Agriculture, or DA, to ensure the enforcement of the rice price cap as directed by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. The President issued Executive Order, or EO number 39, on August 31st, mandating price ceilings for regular milled rice at 41 pesos per kilogram and well-milled rice at 45 pesos per kilogram nationwide starting September 5th. In a news release on Sunday, DILG Secretary Benher Abalos said that because of some people hoarding and manipulating rice prices, President Marcos has signed the EO mandating the price ceiling for rice. During a meeting presided over by Abalos and Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA Acting Chair Don Artes on Saturday, Metro Manila Local Government Units, or LGU chief executives, committed to support the implementation of EO 39 through their local price coordinating councils and by helping in the widest dissemination of EO 39. Mayors Jeannie Sandoval of Malabon City, John Reynald Chanco of Navotas City, Ike Ponce of Pateros, and Wes Gatchalian of Valenzuela City were among those who attended the meeting. Abalos said he is counting on the help of market masters who will play key roles in the effective implementation of the presidential directive on rice prices cap. Abalos also directed the Philippine National Police, or PNP, to extend assistance in the enforcement of EO 39. Earlier, the DA and DTI said Despite stable and sufficient rice supply, there are reports of illegal price manipulation through hoarding by traders and collusion among industry cartels. Agri-Party List Representative Wilbert Lee said, affordable and stable rice prices are possible if the government will invest in food security. Lee has filed House Bill or HB number 9020 or the Cheaper Rice Act, which aims to establish a program that will provide subsidies intended to lower rice prices while encouraging farmers to produce more rice. The lawmaker said lowering rice prices to 20 pesos per kilo is possible in the long term if we are willing to invest in this army and are willing to implement a plan to increase local rice supplies and shield our kababayan or countrymen from rising international rice prices. He said it is a national issue. Automatically, it becomes an expense item that should be funded by the government every year. He said there must be a concrete plan on how to address this problem. HB 9020 seeks to establish a rice incentivization, self-sufficiency and enterprise or rice program to ensure that rice prices remain affordable for the ordinary Filipino consumer via a subsidy that will be provided for the estimated 2.6 million rice farmers. The government shall provide adequate funds to buy the palay or unhusked rice produced by the farmers at a higher price to ensure they earn enough profit from their harvest. Lee said after that, the government shall sell the products at a cheaper price. The Rice Program Act tasked the DA in coordination with the DTI and other relevant government agencies to develop a pricing structure that will cover the minimum guaranteed prices for palay. The program shall also establish a regular monitoring system to mitigate the impact of fluctuating prices on palay and rice and design a system for payouts to farmers based on various scenarios of price decline.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, we would like to invite everyone to come and visit our Facebook page at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.